Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we are going to play around with a brand new kit. It just came out this month, and it is called Brighten Your Day. So the kit contains all the supplies you need to create 9 cards. So it's 3 of each of the 3 different designs. And so I'll show you what the designs actually look like from the kit, but we're actually going to take the kit and we're going to do something a little bit different with it. So I have 8 alternate card ideas that I'm going to share with you today. So you can easily step up these cards just by adding a little bit of pattern paper and some other embellishments. So good morning, everyone. So let me show you. These are some of the cards actually that we're going to create today. I'll show you how to make all these. These are the alternate designs, but I want to show you actually the kit designs. So let me move these out of the way. So the kit comes, like I said, with everything that you need to create 9 cards. So these are the actual kit designs. So they're very beautiful. Let me see if I can get them all on the screen here. So this is what the kit looks like. And then, of course, these are all the different coordinating envelopes. So you can make 3 of each. So you get 3 of each of the coordinating envelopes for each of these cards. And so they're very pretty as is, but you know me, I like to just kind of dress them up a little bit and do something different with the kits. Now, this particular kit doesn't have an exclusive stamp set. It actually has pre-printed little greetings that you can use for your cards. And of course, it has these beautiful die cut pieces that kind of make the background for your cards. So these are what the kit cards actually look like if you put them together the way the kit has you put them together. And I'll just show you what else is in this kit. So I have a couple of things here that I can show you. So this kit, like I said, has all these pre-printed greetings, and they come in a variety of different languages. Of course, the English ones are up here on the top, and you get several sheets of these. Obviously, you need 9 of them for each of the 9 cards. And then here are the card bases. These are all the card bases that come in the kit. So what I like about the card bases and what I'll show you today is that you can cut these apart and you can use these card bases as pattern paper. Of course, obviously you have to add your own supplies when you do that. And then these are how the die cut pieces come. So you just pop them out of the different papers here, and then you can use them on your cards. But one of the things I wanted to point out about this particular kit, and actually any kit that has different languages. So obviously I'm going to use the English, but these other pieces here, you can pop these out, and I saved them and I'll show you today, but you can just use the back side of it and you already have a pre-cut label that you can use to stamp any kind of greeting for any cards. So don't throw these away, keep those and use the back side of it to create some cards. All right, so I think that's what I wanted to share with you about the kit. So let's start with just a simple way that you can kind of dress up your card. So let me see, where did I put that other card? Here it is. So this is what the kit card looks like, and I simply dressed it up by adding a little bit of pattern paper and then just a little die cut. Well, actually, this isn't a die cut, just a little bird that I cut out by hand from a piece of pattern paper. So I'll show you that. So I just used the card base as is, and actually these card bases are really nice and thick, just like your thick basic white cardstock. These are really nice, sturdy cardstock or card bases. So the first thing we're going to do is use this beautiful die cut piece that came in the kit. And there's a couple of different ways that you can adhere this. You can use a sponge and just sponge some glue on it. But since it's a very detailed die, or die cut piece, I'm just going to use my glue and just try to go lightly over the top. If I can get my glue to come out. 1 second here. There we go. So you're just going to go, um, you're just going to take this and just kind of run it over the top of these different leaves. So I'm not going to necessarily have each leaf adhered, I guess, but we'll just lightly add some. Is this coming out? I can't tell if it's coming out now. There we go. Okay, now I can see it. So we'll just go along and add this. So you don't want to squeeze too hard. That's why I couldn't tell if it was coming out or not. But you just want to add a little bit of glue to some of the parts of the leaf. There we go. I think I got it. All right, so then we're just going to add this right to our card base. It just fits nicely in the corner there. And then I took some of the Timeless Plaid Designer Series paper. So I'm using the Timeless Plaid, I think, for most of these cards. And then I just cut a 1 by 4¼ inch piece, and that's just going to go right across the bottom here. You can use, oh, I got glue on my fingers. You can use any pattern paper that you want. But I thought this paper went really nicely with this particular design in the kit. So we'll just add this. And then this is the pre-printed greeting. And I just took some linen thread here, and we're going to add a little bit of linen thread. The kit came with, let's see, kind of this off-white, this vanilla color baker's twine, but I decided I was going to switch it out and just use this. So I am adding just a little loop of this linen thread. I like to wrap it around my fingers twice, and then I pull it together to create 2 sets of bows like that. And then basically what I want to do is just adhere this behind this greeting. So to hold this in place, I'm just going to add some dimensionals. That's the easiest. You could use washi tape if you have it, or Scotch tape, just to hold this down. But I'm going to use dimensionals since I need them anyways. So let's add this here. And we'll add one more over here. And that'll just kind of hold everything into place. And this is what it'll look like on this side. And then you could just trim these little extra pieces down. And you could do that with the baker's twine that's in the kit too. You don't have to have the linen thread. I'm just going to add a little dimensional here and then one off to the side. And then we'll just pop this up. So yes, this kit is called Brighten Your Day. Thank you, Louise. And this is just going to go right up here. I'll bring the kit back so you guys can see it. This is the kit that I'm working with. It's called Brighten Your Day, and it has all 3 of these different designs, but we're going to look at 8 other designs today. Just some simple ways to step them up. All right, so then what I did is I took the little bird images from the, what's it called, Nests of Winter Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to cut around this image, and we're going to cut off, you know, these green leaves and little berries and stuff. So you just use the scissors and just cut around it. So these are obviously pre-printed right into the designer paper. So if you don't have this designer paper, you can use stamped images or anything else that you want to decorate your card, but I just thought these little birds went really nicely with this paper. And so you just cut that out. And then let's add this. Oop. I had lost the dimensional. Here we go. And we'll just tuck this right in here. All right. So very simple and just kind of a fun way to step up these really beautiful cards. And then I'm just using up some embellishments that I have on hand. I only have a couple left, so I'm going to use these up. All right, so that is the first way that you can kind of step up these cards. So let's look at this. That was portrait style. And now we're going to use the same design, the same background design, except we're just going to turn the card and do it in landscape style. And so this time I'm going to add a few other things here. So I've already adhered this since I showed you how to adhere it. I've already adhered it on the card front the same way. The only difference is I'm turning this card so that it's in the portrait style. And then I'm going to add some pattern paper. Did I cut this right? I did not. I cut this too short. Now I'm going to have to get a different piece of pattern paper. Hang on a second. Just when I thought I was ready. We'll fix this. I think this one is 4.5. Yeah, this one's 4.5. So it's 1 by 4.5. As soon as I laid it down, I'm like, no, that's not the right size. There's a better one. All right, so 1 by 4.5. This is also the timeless plaid. So you could use either side actually, but I just kind of went with the browns. So we'll add this. And we'll put this right across here. This will also help hold down that die cut piece in the background. And I already put the twine on here, just like I showed you, the linen thread. So we'll add this right in the center. I just wanted to make it go a little bit faster for you guys. And then this time I just used a different bird from that pattern paper. And we'll just tuck that one right in there. We'll use up some of these. I'm going to use different embellishments because I want to use these up. I only have 2 left. There we go. So you can use, you know, the textured dots or whatever you want to use to embellish it. So that is what the second card idea looks like. And so for those of you, if you're just joining me, this is the original design that comes from the kit. And all I did was just add some pattern paper. So this is what it would look like. All I did is just add a little bit of pattern paper and some linen thread and a cute little embellishment. So, and it just changes the whole look of the card. All right, so that is the first set. Now let's look at this other design. I'm going to grab this one so you can see what it looks like. This is the kit design. And so for this one, we are going to, I'm just going to organize my stuff here. So we're just going to add some pattern paper just to kind of break up that background a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do with this first card. So we're just going to use the card base as is. And then I have a piece of pattern paper, which is 2.5 by 5.5. And so this is that timeless plaid. So we'll add this. This is just going to go directly across the center. So I'll just go right across here. And then we're going to add our little die cut piece. So this is the beautiful die cut piece that comes in the kit. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of go around, and I use the tip of this glue to just kind of push the glue around so I don't get big, globs of glue on here. Hopefully I'm doing the right side. I should have looked at that. So this is probably the most tedious part, is adding the glue. All right, so now we will add this piece right on here. And then you just add the greeting. Again, I used linen thread, but you could definitely use the baker's twine that came in this kit. And then we'll just pop this up. Let's go right about here, maybe. And then you can add some embellishments. Let me grab my embellishments. I have some embellishments that I'm using up, so so I want to use them up. These are the in colors, last year's in colors. All right, and so that's the second way, just that you can dress this card up. Just add any kind of pattern paper behind it, and you just get a really, really fun look. All right, now these next two cards, actually what I did is I cut up that bird. So this die cut piece, instead of using it as one piece, I actually cut in between here. So we're going to cut, I'll move this out of the way so you can see. So let's get some dark cardstock behind here so you can see. So what I'm going to do is just cut this little branch right here. We're going to cut right along the side. So we'll cut that off. And then we're going to cut this off up on the top. I think that's what I did. Let me see. We'll cut that like that. So there's one piece for one card. And then this one we'll just have to round this off a little bit. Get rid of that jagged edge. And then I just cut this branch right off, this piece right here. This went right in here. And just kind of cut up towards the side. So now you have two pieces. So just a couple simple little cuts, and you have two pieces that you can use to create two different cards. So that's what we're going to do. So let me put those to the side. So the first, well, we could do them at the same time, but let's put this to the side here. We're going to do this first one. So what I did is I cut the card base in half, and then I cut it down. Excuse me, I cut it down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's what I did with all the card bases, just to give like a small amount of matting around here. I'm using Lost Lagoon for the base of the card. And so this first one, so when you cut apart the card base, let me just show you this here. I grabbed the other one. When you cut apart the card base, you get two different pieces that you can use for card making. So you get like double the amount of cards when you cut apart the card base, and when you cut apart the die cut pieces, these bird pieces. So you'll get double the amount of cards if you wanted to make them all this way. So this first one, we're just going to add this to our Lost Lagoon cardstock. So this is a standard A2 size card base. We'll add that. And then we're going to use this big piece here. This piece is going to go on here. And I have a piece of pattern paper, which is 1.5 by 4 1/8. So this is going to go off to the side here. So the first thing I want to do is glue this guy down. Let's add some glue. And we're almost done. There we go. Flip it over. Try not to get glue everywhere. And this is going to go right like this. So we're going to go about there. But before I glue that down, I'm going to add my pattern paper because I want it underneath his wings there, his tail. There we go. And then you can just push this down. All right, and then, excuse me, then I have a 1.5 by, I think this is 3/4. Yeah. So it's 1.5 by 3/4 inch piece of just that Lost Lagoon. And we're just going to put it behind the little tag, the little greeting from this kit. So it's kind of nice that this has pre-printed greetings. Not that I don't like stamping, because I do, but it's nice to sometimes have just pre-printed stuff that's already set to go. So let's add some dimensionals on this. And then we'll just add this right here. And then we'll just add a couple little embellishments. So just a fun way to use these little die cut pieces if you want to really stretch your kit and kind of stretch, well, I put that down a little bit. If you want to stretch your kit and your supplies, this is a great way to do it. Plus, it just really dresses up the card nicely. So, all right, so that is number 2. Let me show you the other one. What did I do with it? Here it is. This one I used a different piece of pattern paper, but we're going to use up this other piece, this other part of the die cut shape. And I'm still using the 5/8, 5 3/8, excuse me, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So that's the piece. Oh, apparently I didn't cut this down. So let's do that. Let's do that right away. Just when you think that you have everything ready to go. It's a good thing I got my cutter right here. Now let's try that again. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. All right, let's add this first. So this is one of the card bases from the kit that I'm just using in the background on a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock. And then I just decided to play around with some little strips of paper. So I have, let's see, these are all going to be 3.5 inches long. Let me show you. And these little strips of paper are just 1/4 inch wide. So I just kind of made this little design to go all the way across. So 1/4 inch by 3.5. And then this one is 3 by 3.5. So we'll add this one first. This is a piece of pattern paper from the Timeless Plaid. So we'll add this right on the side here. And then it's just a matter of adhering these pieces. So this is a great way to use up little scrap pieces of cardstock if you have them. Just cut them 1/4 inch wide and make a fun little design across the card base. So I'm using Old Olive. This is Old Olive right here. and then just white, and then Lost Lagoon. We'll put that on the side, and we'll put this one in the middle. And I'll get all these projects up on my blog for you, so you'll have all the instructions, all the measurements, everything will be on my blog. I'll get that out there for you today. So that's the basic design. Now, again, if you guys don't have this kit, you can still use these card layouts with, whatever supplies you have on hand. So we are going to, I think I probably shouldn't have adhered this, but I did. So we'll get it to work. No biggie. Okay. So we are going to put this behind here. So I want probably just like that. See, I already put dimensionals on there, so now I got to add. Now I got to add a couple right there. Okay, so basically what I did is I used the greeting from the kit, and then I just added this little scrap piece of Lost Lagoon behind here. So it's a 1/2 inch wide, and it is 2.5 inches long. So it fits behind here, and it just kind of gives it a nice look. And then we're just gonna pop this up. Let's go over to the side. We're just gonna pop this up like that. I'll probably add a little dimensional behind that, but you get the basic idea. And then I just added a couple little gems down the side here, just to kind of dress up this white piece. I just added some of these small little in color dots. Let's see, where do I want this? Probably right under that leaf. There we go. All right, so that is, I don't even know what card number we're on. That's the next card idea. So just a fun way to cut apart, these pieces, these die cut pieces to make 2 cards instead of 1. All right, so those are good there. Let me separate these here. I've got cards all over the place. And then I'll bring them back and show you all of them. All right, so the last one that we're going to look at is this other die cut piece that is in the kit. So we're going to look at this big floral piece. And so this time we have like Highland Heather and fresh freesia colors. That's what's in here. And let me show you the kit card. So this is what the card from the kit looks like. You just adhere this die cut piece in the background, and then you decorate it with your little greeting here. But we are going to do something a little bit different. So this time I used, I moved away from the plaid because I didn't have any purple. So we're going to use, I think this is the Floral Impressions Designer Series paper. I think it's an online exclusive. And so I just have a 1 by 5.5 inch piece, and we're going to add this to our card front. So this is just a simple way. Let's make sure our card is going the right direction. This is just a simple way to dress up this card a little bit, add a little bit more color. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go around and we're going to add some glue to this. And then we'll add it to the card front. So we have a lot bigger pieces to work with this time. All right. So let's add this. And see how the pattern paper just kind of makes it pop a little bit. And then we're just going to use the greeting from the kit. And then I have a 2 3/4, I believe. Yep, 2 3/4 by 3/4 inch piece of fresh freesia. And we'll just put that behind the greeting. let's put that on there, and then let's add our gems right away. It's a little bit easier to adhere it when we do that. So let's put our gems on there. And then we'll pop this up with some dimensionals. I think this is card number 5. 5? It's card number 5. All right, and then we're just gonna put this down towards the bottom here. So that's just the easy way to step it up. Just add a little bit of pattern paper on there and a little bit, of scrap cardstock. And just look at the difference between the two. It's just really pretty. Just really gives you a nice look. So that is going to go somewhere. Where am I going to put that? Over here. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at a way that we can cut this this piece up here. So we are going to use this big die cut piece that came in the kit, and we're just going to cut it into 2 pieces so that we can create 2 cards. So I suppose I should bring this back so I can see how I cut this. We are going to cut right in between. So we're going to cut right in between here. And can you guys see that okay? We're going to just cut along here. And then that will separate them into 2. So there's one. And then this one, I'm just going to trim off these excess pieces. There's like a couple little excess pieces right there. And then we'll just make this leaf look a little less choppy. There. So let's get that out of the way. All right, so it's pretty easy to cut these pieces apart so that you have 2 different pieces that you can use to make 2 additional cards. So let's look at this first one. And all these cards, I did one design in portrait style, one in landscape style, but they basically all use the same card, the same size card base here. So this is one of the card bases from the kit. So you'll have to cut the card base apart in order to use these 2 die cut pieces. So this is that 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So we'll just adhere this to our card front first. And then with this one, instead of using additional pattern paper, I decided to do a little bit of dry embossing. So I have a piece of white cardstock. Oh, it's super bright. Sorry, guys. I have a piece of white cardstock that is 5 3/8. I don't usually do 3/8, guys. I usually do 5 1/4. So this is throwing me off. So 5 3/8 by 1. So we're going to put this on the bottom. And then we are going to use, out of these 2 pieces, we're going to use this piece. So this piece is going to go kind of up like that. So let's adhere that first. And you could pop these up if you wanted to, but these are so detailed that I just decided I'm just gonna glue them. Glue them down. Do it easy. All right, so let's put this on here. And then we'll add this. So I use the Forever Plaid, I believe is what it's called. It's an embossing folder that gives you this fun look here. So we'll just add that little piece. And then I have I think this is a 2 3/4 by a 1/2 inch. We're just going to put this right behind here. I like to add just little bits of cardstock behind my greeting. Oh, not put that in the right spot. just to kind of bring out that color, whatever color I'm trying to accent. Let's add some of these. And then we'll pop this up. So this is card number 7. So I have one more card idea for you guys. I know I don't usually go this long, but hopefully you are enjoying these alternate card ideas. This kit was really a fun kit to play around with. And like I said, I like the fact that I have the pre-printed greetings because now I can order more of these kits without having an extra exclusive stamp set. Do you know what I'm saying? Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? A lot of times these kits come with an exclusive stamp set, so I usually don't want to order more than one because I don't need more than one exclusive stamp set. But because these are pre-printed, um, I won't end up with multiples of an exclusive stamp set. I hope that makes sense. All right, so this is the last one. This is how we're going to use up this piece. And so for this one, I have Highland Heather in the background. I forgot to tell you this one was done with fresh freesia in the background, that the card base. This one's Highland Heather. And so I have my 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of one of the card bases from the kit. So I'll put that on there. And then this time I have I think this is 4 1/8 by 1. So that's my embossed piece of white cardstock. And then we'll add this piece, this die cut piece. This is going to go on the top. We'll add that. We'll worry about like that. And then we'll add this on the bottom, and then we'll add our greeting. And then our greeting. So here's where I used the, I don't even know what language this is. French, maybe? I don't know. I used this, the back side of this one. So these labels come in the kit. So I just stamped a different greeting on there and just used the back side of it. So that's why I said don't throw these away because you can use these for card making. They're already pre-cut for you. All right, let's add some dimensionals and get these done. And then I'll show you, I'll just bring back some of those card ideas and just kind of show them to you so you can see what they look like compared to the kit cards. So let's add this right here. And we'll add our little gems. Okay. All right, so that is the 8th card. So just kind of a fun way to cut apart those pieces. So let's look at these cards. So these two were created by cutting apart. Yes, by cutting apart the pieces. And then of course this is just a simple way. Let's see if I can get this in here. This is just a simple way to to dress the card up a little bit. But this is what the original card looks like. So you can see it just looks a little different from this one. And then here we have completely different. So that's what you can do. These are 3 different designs if you wanted to change it out from what the kit design is. So those are those. And let's look at these. These are the Lost Lagoon color. So same thing. Let's see if we can do it this way. So these two were created from cutting apart this one piece. So this is the piece that comes in the kit. So you can use it as is, and just add a little pattern paper in there. or you can cut it apart and make two different cards. And then this is the original kit card that comes that you can make. So you have four different ideas for using this kit, actually. The kit design and then these three other designs. So that's the bird one. And then there's another bird one. And this one, I only did two alternates because, where'd the other one go? Because the kit, this particular die cut piece in the kit was really hard to determine how to cut it apart decent. So that's why I just did two alternate designs, one in portrait style and one in landscape style. All right. So those are the card ideas that I have for you today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this kit and just a look into some different ways that you can use it. And again, this is what the kit is called. It's called Brighten Your Day. And these are the different card designs. And so today I shared 8 additional card designs that you could use. So you could use a combination of the designs that I shared today, or if there was one particular design that you really liked with, if you just like this design, then make all 3 of them this way. And so you have lots of different options for using this kit. So I hope you guys enjoyed these ideas. I hope it inspires you to get creative today. And if you have this kit, I hope it inspires you to just kind of play around with it in a different way than it was intended. And if you don't have this kit, I did link to it in the description with this video, so you can go check it out. It really is a great way to make lots of beautiful cards fairly quickly. All right, you guys. So I hope you have a good rest of your day and a great week. And I will see you guys again next week. So take care, everyone.